Hello everyone, I am Anis. Welcome back to my YouTube channel or welcome to my YouTube channel. If you all are new here and if you are new, you guys should definitely subscribe. Yeah, you should do that. And press the ringing bell beside subscribe. Okay, let's go to the demo of the application which we are going to make in this video. This is an advanced master detail CRUD application. In this video, we are going to develop a module to manage the purchase orders. As you know very well, I am using Visual Studio 2022 as the development tool and ASP.NET Core with MVC as the platform. Let's see the create action in the 32x speed first. We will enter all the required fields and press the create button to create the purchase order. Let's click the create button. Wow, the purchase order is saved successfully, and that's a beautiful alert giving us an information notice. This is nice, isn't it? Okay, let's see all the features of this module and we will see how it is created one by one. In case if you guys are joining only now, this is the inventory application we are doing for quite some time, and this is the home page of the application. So let's log in. Enter username as tester and enter the password of the tester and press the login button. After that, let's click the transactions menu and click the purchase order menu to load the purchase order listing screen. This is the listing screen of the purchase order. This screen is full featured with options like search, sort and pagination bars. Now let's click the create button to load the purchase order creation screen. This is the purchase order creation screen. Notice the P1 number field is read only and it automatically gives the P1 number sequentially from the database, and this P1 number is unique. Next, the supplier selection box. In this box, I have loaded all the suppliers from the suppliers table so that user can select instead of entering the supplier code. And then this field is the PO currency field. In here I have loaded all the currencies from the currency table. As of now only 3 currencies are added and the AED is the default currency. Then the quotation number field is the unique one, and in here we should enter the quotation number received from the supplier. Next, we will select the quotation date because all quotations comes with the validity period. So date is a must entry. After that, let's enter the product name in the product code field. Notice this suggests the products as per the search keyword. Let's select the green shirt and press enter. Notice automatically the description and the product code are picked and populated to the respective text boxes. Then enter the quantity in the quantity text box. Let's enter 50. After that, enter the FOB as 25. FOB means free on board. Notice as soon as we enter the FOB, then the converted price in AED is displayed in the price text box, and this price field is read only. So the user only can enter the FOB. It will calculate the price based on the exchange rate we provide in the currency conversion table. But here now price and FOB are same, and because we have chosen AED as the PO currency and the exchange rate is 1. Then after, notice the line item total is calculated and displayed to line item total field. After that, the quantity total summary is displayed in the total quantity field, and the total amount is calculated and displayed in the value total summary field. Then let's add one more row. Actually, this is a dynamic grid which is completely created by me without using any third-party components. Because I hate third-party components and it does not take much time to create of our own, and I love to create everything myself, and I only go to the Google for ideas. Google is an excellent idea provider. In this row, add item name as black shirt. Just type BL, that's enough. It will list all items which contains the letter BL in it. Then enter quantity as 100. After that, enter FOB as 55. Then after, press add one more time to add one more row. And in here, enter detail floor as an item name. And enter quantity as 25. Notice after inserting the product code, the corresponding unit name is loaded to the unit text box automatically. Actually, this is not easy because I did this without using the Ajax. But how is it possible without using Ajax? Let's see it during the development. And then enter price as 12. After that, click add button again. Notice the grid started scrolling. Yes, this is a scrollable grid with summary totals. Very nice, isn't it? Then enter item description as Fanta small. Notice the grid scrolled to accommodate the search list box without disturbing other controls outside of the grid. Then enter quantity as 50 and enter FOB as 15. Notice the totals are calculated and displayed in the respective places automatically. See, now we have 4 items in the grid and the grid is completely scrollable. You can add as many as rows as you wish. Let's click the create button to save the purchase order. Wow, the purchase order is saved with giving a beautiful bootstrap information alert message. This is very nice, isn't it? I like it very much. In case if you also like, then I have a separate tutorial on how to create bootstrap information and error message alerts. I will keep the video link in the description, so please watch that on how to create alerts. Notice in the listing screen the record is saved successfully, but I actually forgot to set the currency as INR. So let's edit the purchase order to change the currency to INR. So open the purchase order which we just created in the edit screen. And in here, change the PO currency to INR from AED. Notice as soon as I change the currency to INR, the exchange rate field got changed to 0.0470, which is the conversion rate from INR to AED. That means 1 INR is equals to 0.0470 AED. After that, notice the price field in the detail grid also got changed. This is because the exchange rate is applied to the price field. So now the price equals to FOB multiplied by the exchange rate. Now let's change the price of the detail to 15 rupees because the conversion is going to multiple decimals when we put 12 as the FOB. Maybe we will fix this later. Okay, all set now. Let's press the edit button. Wow, the purchase order is modified fine. So edit is also working fine. Next, let's see the details view of the purchase order. So click the details icon to open the purchase order in the details screen. This is the details screen of the purchase order, and here all the controls are read only because we don't need to change anything here and we must not change anything in the details view. So the details view is also looking very nice, isn't it? Then let's press the edit button to check the flow whether the edit action is working when we navigate to edit screen from here. Okay, now the purchase order is loaded in the edit screen. Let's change the quotation date to 10th June. Of course, we need to do some changes before saving. Then press the edit button. Perfect. Edit action is working fine even when it is navigated from the details view. So the flow of actions are happening properly. Again, let's open the same record to see the changes we made. Notice the quotation date is changed to 10th June. So our changes got saved properly. Next, we will see the delete screen. So click the delete icon to load the delete screen. This is the delete screen of the purchase order. This is almost identical to the detail screen. The only difference is it has the delete button instead of the edit button. Let's press the delete button to delete the purchase order. Yes, the record is deleted successfully. So all the CRUD actions are working fine. Let's see how it is done now. Actually, this is the part 2 of the purchase order module. In case if you have not watched the part 1, I request you to watch it first and the video link is in description. But if you want to watch part 2 first, then no issues because I will share source code of part 1 so that you can download and continue developing it from there. But if you need the explanation, then you must watch the part 1. Please find the source code URL displayed in the screen. After downloading the source code zip file, extract it. After extracting it, open the folder named Purchase Order 1 and then open the SQL Server Management Studio. Actually, Microsoft has made SQL Server Management Studio as free. So if you don't have, then please download and install the SQL Server Management Studio first. After that, right click the databases folder icon and select Restore Database and then click the device option button and select the folder. In here, click the add button and locate the purchase order part 1 folder from your machine. In my machine, I have extracted the zip file in C drive. Then this step is very important because you need to select the correct file to restore the database. So please select file named purchase order part 1.bak. This is the database backup file from my machine. And then click OK and again click the OK button. Now the backup file is selected. Press the OK button in this screen also. Perfect, the database is restored. Press the OK button and select the Codes Inventory database from the databases folder. Then expand the tables collection and make sure that the PO header and PO details table exists in the database because these two tables are very important to proceed further. After that, select the Inventory Beginners project file and open it with Visual Studio 2022. Please wait, it may take some good time to load the project because it has to install the required Nugget packages also. Okay, now the project is loaded. That's great. After that, expand the views folder and right click the purchase order folder. And now click add and select view and select the razor view empty. Then give the file name as create.cshtml and press add. Okay, now the scaffolding task has created an empty view file. In this, I have pasted the codes from the purchase order part 1 project. So please copy and enter it to your create.cshtml file. Then I will scroll. Please copy everything, then only you can continue the part 2. Maybe you can take the screenshot and copy it later also. Maybe you can rename the file like create1, create2 like that. And this is the table's body section. This is also very important, so copy it properly. Then this is the buttons control section. Okay, now we will go to the script section. Please copy the script section properly because JavaScript methods are very important in this project. Next method is delete item method. After that, copy the rebind validators method. This is also a very important method. Okay, that's it with the create.cs HTML. Now let's also create the detail.cs HTML. So right click the purchase order folder and click add, then click view and then select the razor view empty and click the add button. Give the name of the file as details.cs HTML and press the add button and wait for the scaffolding task to complete. After that, I have pasted the codes of the details.cs HTML, so please copy it. Actually, this code is not complicated like the create.cs HTML. And this code does not have any JavaScripts. Okay, I will scroll slowly so that you can copy or take the screenshot. Then this is the header section of the detail grid. This is so similar to the one we saw on the create.cs HTML. After that, this is the body section of the detail grid table. Notice here I have made all the controls as read-only. Then that's it with the details.cs HTML. So let's save and run the application. Let's log into the application. Enter user ID as tester and password as 123 at test. After logging in, select the transactions menu and click the purchase order menu. This is the purchase order listing screen of the part 1 completion, but in the part 2 we will improve on this and make it look beautiful. And this is the purchase order creation screen of the part 1 completion. We will also improve this screen and will add many features to the screen in the part 2. But this screen is working fine, even though it lacks some features, but it is working master detail concept. So let's enter few rows and we'll try to save the purchase order entry. We will press the create button to save the purchase order entry. Perfect, the entry got saved properly. Let's open the same in the details view. Okay, now the purchase order entry is loaded in the details view. I have cross-checked the entry. It has saved everything properly. So this is what we have done in the part 1. Now we are ready for the part 2. So let's start part 2. This is the purchase order listing screen at the time of completing part 1. But this does not look attractive and we should not publish this to the customers. So we will work on this screen to improve and will try to bring a more attractive listing screen in this video. And this is the purchase order creation screen from the part 1. This looks good, but it can have a lot of improvements. So we will work on this to bring a full-featured purchase order creation screen in this video. Then the edit screen was not made in the part 1 due to the limitation of time. So we will make the edit screen in this video. And the delete screen was also not made in the part 1 due to the limitation of time. So we will make the delete screen also in this video. And this is the detailed screen. I think this screen is already looking good and we had already seen about the screen in the part 1 itself. So we will not be touching the screen in this video. Let's first work on the listing screen. The above is the current screen numbered as 1 and the below is the completed screen numbered as 2. So let's work to convert the above screen to the below screen. Hello all, making YouTube video takes lot of time and efforts. But all these efforts should have a meaning. So please like, comment and share this video. Thanks a lot. Let's continue to the tutorial. Please do not forget to subscribe to this channel and press the bell icon to get notified. Explore the views folder and then explore the purchase order folder inside it. After that, open the index.cshtml from the purchase order folder. Then scroll up to the top of the file and locate the heading section. Above the heading tag, add the sort model and paging model variables. This we do to bring the sorting and pagination features to our purchase order listing screen. After that, delete the old code which is setting title value to the view data variable. And next, add the font of some style sheet reference. In here, I am directly referring to the Font Awesome website, but you can also download and keep the Font Awesome CSS files locally in the www root folder. After that, we will change the heading like the heading displayed in the green box. To do that, let's add the HTML markups. Okay, I have added the code to generate the heading as shown in the green box. Please copy the HTML markups shown in the green box. And then delete the old heading and old create link buttons. Next, we will add the search bar and the pagination bar at the top. This I have created as a partial view because I am reusing this partial view in many pages. In case if you are new to my channel, please watch my previous videos in the playlist to get complete explanation on how it is done. Okay, let's build and run the application to just cross-check the output and to know are we on the right track. Wow, we got the desired output. The search bar and paging bar is displayed properly. Let's test the search bar. So enter the first pivot number and we'll press the search button. Perfect, search bar is working fine as expected. But we cannot test the pagination bar because we have only one page of records. No worries, we will add more records and test it later. Okay, now let's add the sorting functionality. So delete the pivot number and pivot date header columns. As of now, we are going to add sorting function only to these two columns. In case if you want to add more, you can do it in the same way yourself. And then we will add the header columns for pivot number and pivot date with the sorting functionality. Please note and copy it. Okay, we are done. Let's build and run the application. Perfect, sorting is working fine for the pivot number column. Then let's test for the pivot date column also. Oh no, sort is not working for the pivot date column. No panic, I think we have not written sorting code in the repository for pivot date column so far. So open the purchase order repository file from the repositories folder. And in here, add the code to handle the sorting for the pivot date column and delete the existing code which is for the quotation number. We want to have sorting functionality only to the pivot number and pivot date column. After that, save and run the application. Wow, the sorting function for the pivot date column is also working fine now. So far so good. Let's continue coding. Next, the action button links for edit, delete and details are looking very odd and spoiling the beauty of our user interface. So now I am going to use the action link buttons like the one which is boxed in the green. To do that, open the index.cshtml and scroll down to the bottom of the file to locate the action link buttons. Then select the action link buttons and delete them. And now we will add the new code for the action link buttons. Okay, I have pasted the new code for the action link buttons. So please copy. And in the meantime, let me build and run the application. Perfect. We got the beautiful action link buttons. Let me check the button's behavior by clicking the Details button. Yes, the Details button is working fine. And we have not made the edit and delete actions till now, so I don't want to click them. But we will complete this module in this video, and there is no part 3 for this module. Next, we need to add the bottom bar to our purchase order listing screen. This is also a partial view. Okay, now I have pasted codes of the bottom bar, so please copy it down. After that, also include the script section to your index.cs HTML. This will make sure to include the paths of the required JavaScripts. That's it. Let's build and run the application. Wow, the bottom bar also came very nicely. So now we are done with the index page. Let's move to the create.cs HTML and add the missing features there. Now we are going to convert the present purchase order screen, which is numbered as 1, to the advanced purchase order creation screen, which is numbered as 2 in the screen. Let's upgrade the screen from version 1 to version 2. To do that, first open the create.cs HTML file from the purchase order folder, which is inside the views folder. After that, scroll up to reach the top of the file. Then here, add a read-only attribute to the pivot number. We want to make the pivot number as an auto-generated value. Then after, we will hide the pivot date in the purchase order creation screen, and we will set the pivot date to system date, because we should not allow the user to create backdated purchase orders. And next, we will also hide the base currency from the purchase order creation screen, because base currency cannot be changed at all. It should be set in the system configurations. Here we will hardcode it to AED. Then change the heading pane background color to bootstrap class bg-danger. Okay, let's run and check the output. Wow, the output is coming in the way we expected. So let's continue. On changing the pivot currency, the exchange rate column should get changed, but it is not happening because we have not written any code for it. We are going to do the changing of exchange rate function without using the Ajax, because I have not thought to Ajax so far. My next tutorial probably will be on Ajax, but in this we will do everything without Ajax. First, we need to write a method to populate the available currencies and the exchange rates. So, open the purchase order controller file for this. And then scroll down to the bottom of the purchase order controller file. After that, add this method, the method named getExchangeRate. This method is very important, so please copy it properly. And then add the getUnitNames method. This is not used in the header section, but it is used for the detail grid section. So please copy the getUnitsName method also properly. And then open the purchase order repository file. After that, scroll down to the bottom of the purchase order repository file. And in here, write a method to auto-generate the PO number and name that method as getNewPONumber. Then go back to the purchase order controller and scroll up to locate the create method. Okay, I forgot. Open the iPurchaseOrder interface file. This is very important. And in here add a method declaration named getNewPONumber. After that, open the purchase order controller and locate the create method again. And in the create method, add the two new viewback variables to set the exchange rate and unit names, and set the item.po number to report.getNewPONumber. Now go back to the create.cs HTML, which is inside the purchase order folder of the views folder. And in here create a hidden select list control named dropdown ex rate and set the ASP-items of the select list to viewback.exchange rate. After that, scroll down to the bottom of the file and in the script section add the getExRate method. This method will set the exchange rate corresponding to the selected currency. Then scroll up and locate the PO currency ID select list. And in here call the getExRate method in the onChange event. After that, add the read-only attribute to the exchange rate input control. Then add the ID attribute to the exchange rate input control and set the value for ID attribute as txt exchange rate. Okay, let's build and run the application. Now let's try to change the PO currency. Perfect, the exchange rate is getting changed. So mission accomplished. But have you noticed there is a blank line added below the PO number? Earlier it was not there. This is because we have hidden a select list to store the exchange rates of all currencies. Even though the select list is hidden, it takes the space and displays blank row in this screen as shown by the double side arrow line. Okay, to fix this issue, first collapse the control div as shown. After that, add a parent div and nest the collapsed div inside it. Now expand the collapsed div. After that, cut the bottom controls div, which is having the create and back button controls. And insert the button control div just above the form closing tag. And then change the bootstrap class for the nested div as shown and delete the old bootstrap classes from the nested div. And next collapse the nested div, and now the important step is going to come, so please watch it carefully. Then after, add one more div with column width of 1. Already 11 columns are allocated for the previous nested grid, which is having all the text controls. This div will have all the hidden controls. After that, expand the first nested div and cut the select list which carries the exchange rate details. Then collapse the first nested div and insert the hidden exchange rate select list to the second nested div as shown. Okay, we are done. Let's save and run the application. Perfect. Now the blank lines below the PO number is not appearing. Let's change the PO currency. Perfect. The exchange rate is changing on selection. So our script is working fine. At the same time, the alignment is also coming neat. That means we are going on right track. I think we are almost done with the header section. Let's move to the detailed section now. Now the detailed grid is lacking the scrolling features and fixed headers. For example, when you add rows in the first detailed grid, which is numbered as 1, the form grows in the bottom direction to limitless and it looks odd and it is not a great user experience. At the same time, let's add the rows to the right side detailed grid, which is numbered as 2 in the video. In this, the height of the grid is undisturbed and the rows are scrolling inside the grid, and this is a great user experience. Because of this, we have space to keep the summary totals at the bottom of the grid. So let's work to achieve this. First, open the site.css file from the CSS folder, which is inside the www root folder, and then scroll down to the bottom of the site.css file. In here, add the codes table class. This is a very important class. This is one of the best way to create a scrollable grid. In fact, initially I struggled a bit to achieve this, but in hours I got it working. So please spend time and copy it slowly and properly. And next, open the create.cs HTML from the purchase order folder, which is inside the views folder. In here, we need to add this codes table class to the detailed grid style section. So add the codes table class to the CSS classes list of the detailed grid. After that, also add border class to the CSS classes list of the detailed table. After that, save and run the application. Okay, now let's click the add button multiple times. Perfect. Now the grid is scrolling and we are almost matching the grid shown on the demo. Actually, the grid 1 is having only 5 columns, but grid 2 is having 7 columns. So we will add the total column and description column to the grid 1, so that I can show you how to calculate the item total, and I can show you how to bring the searchable select list in the product code column. To do that, open the PO detail.cs file from the models folder. This is the binded model for the detailed grid. And in here, add the total property of type decimal, and also note that I have added not mapped attribute to the property head. This I did because I don't want to save the total column in the database, and I wish to keep it as a calculated column. After that, open the purchase order folder from the views folder, and in here open the create.cs HTML file again. Next, change the heading of product to product code. After that, add the heading for description column. And then add the heading for the total column, which we just added to the PO detail model file. After that, scroll and locate the table's body section. In here, Delete the select list which was mapped for the product code property of the PO detail model. In that place, inside the input for product code property and for the product description property, please note that the product description input control is read-only. Next, add the input control for the total column property. Please notice that this total input control is also a read-only text box. And then I have also added the CSS class amount total to the line item input control. I will tell you why I added this amount total class later. After that, add the read-only attribute to the input control of the price column. Then add the bootstrap class form control dash plain text. We do this to make it look like a label control. Then I have also added a CSS class named price total. I will tell you about this later. Okay, let's save and run the application to check the output, because we want to know, are we going on the right track? Wow. Yes, the output is matching exactly with the grid shown in the demo. Now we will add the total calculation, price calculation and searchable list box to the grid. Open the create.cshtml and in the create.cshtml scroll down to locate the div which contains the hidden controls. Please be noticed we have a separate div to have all the hidden controls. This we do to avoid alignment issues. And next, insert the code to create a select list with ID as mySelect. This mySelect will become the searchable select list control. After that, set the ASP-items attribute of the mySelect select control to viewback.productList. This we do to populate all the products details from the background products table. Next, add the text box named txt value. This text box is very important. This will store the selected text of the select list temporarily, and this changes when you do the item selection in the product selection select list. Okay, all done. Let's write the required JavaScript to bring the select list on entering the search keyword in the product selection text box. To do that, first scroll down to the bottom of the script section. After that, write the method named show searchable list. This is a very important method, so please copy it properly. I will explain this code later. First you copy it. After that, let's check whether it is working or not. After that, we will go for the explanation part. Don't get scary. This is a little bit lengthy function and it is also very difficult to understand. But don't worry, you copy the complete function first and listen carefully to my explanation. Actually, it looks complicated, but it is very easy. So don't give up. Continue watching. Okay, I hope you copied all the codes of the show searchable list method. Next, we need to do an important step. So please watch it carefully. Then we need to attach this method to the keyDown event of the DOM object. So please add the code to attach this method to the keyDown event of the DOM object as shown in the video. If you miss this step, your project will not work. This is to match the width of the select list with the product search box text box. But after doing this, the search box looks so tiny. So I fixed the width of the searchable list box to 260 pixels. You can change the width as per your requirement. Next, scroll up to locate the hidden controls div. And in here, add an empty hidden div with an ID as hidden div. This is so important because it hides and shows when required by our script. Okay, all set. Let's build and run the application. Click the purchase order menu and then click the create new button. Then enter some text in the product code. Perfect. All products which are matching the search text are displayed in the select list box. Please enter to select the product. But this searchable select list has an issue. When we are adding more and more items, the grid is not scrolling. It's supposed to scroll and show the last line item. So, to bring this feature, let's stop the application and add the necessary codes. First, add an ID to the tbody element of the table. This is so important to control the scroll bars programmatically. Using this ID, now we can get the reference of the tbody element of the detailed grid using the document.getElementById of csdiv and set objdiv.scrollTop equals to objdiv.scrollHeight. After that, copy the two lines and paste it to the show searchable list method also. Okay, that's it. Let's save and run the application. Then let's add some products search keyword in the product code input control and press the enter. Then add few more rows and do the same. Notice now the grid is scrolling down to show the searchable list box. So our code is working fine. But still our job is not completed. I think we are off crust. After that, move the input control of the PO date field and base currency ID select box to the hidden div so that it will be invisible to the users, but we need the values for PO date and base currency ID, so we hide those from the user but still can save and retrieve those values from the backend database. And next, add these dummy CSS classes named quantity total, FOB total, price total and amount total. Actually, there is no attributes added to these classes. But these classes are very important to identify the controls like quantity, FOB price and amount. Because when we are going to deal with the multiple controls of the grid, we need getElementsByClassName method of the JavaScript to get the references to the similar controls. And next, go back to the create.cshtml. And in here, add the quantity total CSS class to the classes list of the quantity input control. Then add the FOB total CSS class to the classes list of the FOB input control of the detail grid. Then add the price total CSS class to the classes list of the price input control of the detail grid. Then next add the amount CSS class to the classes list of the total amount input control of the detail grid. Now I am showing the modified code of all, so please copy it. Then this is another important step, so please listen carefully. to make the master detail grid to work properly, we need to identify the deleted rows. So for this reason, I have added a property named isDeleted to the pivot detail model, and then we need to add a hidden input control for the isDeleted property to submit the value to the controller. After that, let's add the total summary footer for the grid. Actually, this total footer is also a table, but I have made the table in such a way that it matches the total position respective to the quantity and amount columns of the table. After that, we need to write the required JavaScript methods. So scroll down to the bottom of the file. Scroll to the bottom of the script section. Then here I have pasted the total calculation method named calcTotals. This is a little bit important and complicated JavaScript method. So please copy it properly and try to understand the scripts first. I will explain it later. Again I am telling you, this is a very important method. So please copy it properly, because I have seen many questions in the forums on how to add the summary totals to the table using JavaScript. That is also one of the reasons for making this tutorial. Then add the event listener for the change event of the DOM object. This is a very important step. I have added the event listener for the change event of all the controls, and first checking the source control of the event. If the source is quantity or FOB or price or total field, then I call the calcTotals method. Then one more important step to add. So scroll up to the top of the file and locate the hidden div section. Inside this hidden div, insert the unit selection list. This will contain all the unit names as the text and unit ID as the value. Actually, this select list is hidden and we cannot select this, but instead we are going to select the unit respective to the entered item code programmatically. Sounds good, isn't it? Let's see how it is done. Then again scroll down to the bottom of the file, to the script section. Kindly excuse for scrolling up and down so frequently, because this is a little bit complicated subject and very difficult to make a video on this, but still I want to bring this on the screen. That's why I am putting all my efforts to do this. After that, we need to add the event listener to the change event and call the setUnitName method on the change event of the product code input control. Okay, let's see what we have done so far in the screen. So to bring the output screen, let's save and run the application. Click the create new button and then select the PO currency as INR. Perfect. The corresponding exchange rate for the INR to AED is displayed in the exchange rate text box. So our code is working fine. Next, enter the quotation number. Then enter green in the product search text box and press enter to select the green shirt. The description is inserted to the read-only description input control and the product code is set to the product code input control. Next, click the add button to add a row, and in the added row, enter Dettol in the product search text box and select Dettol from the searchable select list by pressing the enter key. Now notice the unit text box is set to the bottles because the unit of the product Dettol is bottle. This is done by the method named setUnitName. And then enter the quantity and FOB. Now notice the price and total calculation is done programmatically by the calculate total method on entering the FOB. This calculate total method is called by the change events of quantity, FOB and PO currency. And look at the summary totals. It's looking very nice, isn't it? It does not look like a separate table and it is so merged with the detailed grid. And they two are different tables and our CSS style classes makes it look like a single component. Okay, let's click the create button to save the purchase order entry. Notice since our total entries crossed 5 rows, the page number 2 is automatically appeared. So let's click the page number 2 to load the second page. After that, let's click the detail link of the purchase order which we just created and load it in the details view. The details view screen is not yet modified. It is the detail screen of the part 1. No worries, we will modify it. Then off the screen I have modified the delete item method. So please copy this. This is an advanced delete item method. It also adjusts the total calculations on deleting a particular row. Because some of you had asked this question in the comment section repeatedly of the master detail screen video. Okay, let's click the create button and make one more purchase order entry. In this entry, add multiple rows to the detail grid because I want to check is the delete item method is working properly or not. After that, delete few rows. Then add few rows. Okay, all set now. We have deleted some rows and we have added some rows. So let's click the create button to save the entries. Now open the purchase order entry which we just saved. Notice the detailed rows which we deleted also got saved. Actually, we had only 2 rows after deleting all the rows, but those deleted rows also got saved. So some issue in the delete item method. No worries, we are here to fix it. So we will fix it. Okay, found the issue. Off the screen, I have also modified the details view page of the purchase order screen and also fixed the delete item method. And in here, notice the summary totals are calculated properly in the details view page also. But actually, we are not saving the summary totals. It is getting calculated at the time of loading the detail screen. Now notice the modified delete item method. This is so important. First, notice the delete item method. In here, I have added a line of code to set the quantity of the deleted row to 0. By this way, we can ignore the deleted rows from saving to the backend table. Okay, now let's save and run the application again to check the behavior of the delete item method. Let's click the create button to load the purchase order creation screen and enter all the purchase order header information first. Then enter few detail entries in the purchase order detail grid. I have created 3 rows in the detail grid now. Then let's delete the first row and add few rows at the bottom. After that, delete the second row also. Okay, all set. So now only 3 rows are left. If we save the entry now, only these 3 rows should be saved. Let's click the save and check the result. I think now it will get saved properly. Perfect, it's saved. Let's open the same entry in the details view page. This time only the 3 rows are saved and the deleted rows are removed before saving the purchase order entry. This is very important because many of you has put comments in the part 1 that the deleted rows are also getting saved. So now we know how to remove the deleted rows collection before saving the entry to the database. And with this we have completed the purchase order creation screen with full options. Actually, I tried to complete the full module in this video. I mean details, edit and delete screens also in this video, but I could not able to complete due to the limitation of time. So we will see that in part 3. With this, I am completing this video. Before I sign off, I request you to subscribe and share this video. I would appreciate if you would like and subscribe to this channel so that you will be notified for all of the new videos that I will be posting. Thank you and bye for now.